What's going on, guys? This is Gainz Gaming. Today we are talking about a huge update coming to Rise of Kingdoms, and that actually just landed in game here tonight. So this is going to be the update 10.0.67 Spring Once More. So there are a lot of things that are going to be in this update. So I will put timestamps in the description. So if you want to jump ahead to see anything in specific, go ahead and click on one of those. Otherwise, we are going to jump right into it. So this will land on March 14th. So that is coming in another week here. So next Tuesday, this will land in game. So the first thing that we're going to get is going to be a spring event. So this is the Spring Once More event. This is going to be a series. So it looks like we're going to have a 7-day quest, which is, we see that pretty often. That's like hitting barbarians, hitting barbarian forts, spending AP, training troops, all that kind of stuff. So we see that pretty often. It does not look like we're going to get a 7,000 gem event. Hopefully we will. Maybe one of these will turn into a 7,000 gem event, but as of right now, it does not really look like it. But we have Wish Upon a Cloud, which is fly kites and make wishes for the coming year. Springtime Surplus, take time in the breeze and redeem limited time gifts. Not sure what that's going to look like, but it could be more Margaret sculptures or something along those lines, because it seems like they do like to do limited time rewards or different things, or you might get some new cosmetics, some decorations, or just things for your avatar. And then we also have No Peak Too High. This is going to be a challenge for massive rewards. Not sure what that's going to look like. Tempest Clash will be coming back here. I know a lot of people are not a huge fan of it. Personally, I like it a lot more than Champions of Olympia, simply because it is way faster to do than to get just the base rewards. But typically, there is going to be a currency that you get from a different event that you'll be getting from Tempest Clash, so it is worth your time to go ahead and do that. And then we have Arms Training coming back. I do have a video on Arms Training that is still very, very relevant, so make sure you guys check that out when the Lohar Arms Training comes around, because that will definitely get you in most likely the top 10 in your kingdom if you follow those steps. The next one is In Search of Wonders. Discover ancient armaments and pave your path to power. Only open in kingdoms that are in Season 3 or beyond. So this looks like it's going to give you new armaments. So this is something that might be really interesting to see what we are going to get here. We will be talking about armaments here later on as well. We do also have a new Zenith of Power event, which is huge. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to get from the Zenith of Power, but hopefully that will be brought out here in the next couple of days when they announce like what the Zenith of Power skin is going to be. But lately the Zenith of Power skins have been very, very, very good. So we'll most likely see another really good Zenith of Power skin. If you guys are planning on pushing, let me know down in the comments below. Maybe we'll be able to follow along your quest of taking #1 in the Zenith, or just unlocking the permanent Zenith skin. So next here we have a new Season of Conquest story. This is the Siege of New Orleans. This is a pioneer event that's going to be coming soon. So we're going to read this here. The enemy is at the gates. If Orleans should fall to the English, the rest of France is soon to follow. The Maid of France is on the march, on her way to deliver Orleans from its peril. I believe that is going to be Joan of the Arc. Kingdoms in the Season of Conquest will have the opportunity to take part in a pioneer event with the new Siege of Orleans story. In this story, you'll be able to try out a new auxiliary commander system in an all-new map in a special Siege of Orleans campaign. So I believe we are going to get new ranged commanders for this specific Season of Conquest. And you can kind of gauge that because the name Siege of Orleans, obviously Siege is being used for ranged combat, and so most likely we're going to get new auxiliary commanders that are going to be used for the ranged combat system, which will most likely come for free in the Siege of Orleans story mode. The auxiliary commanders, each commander can equip up to 3 extra auxiliary skills from 3 separate auxiliary commanders. So I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like here yet, but that might be where you can take skills from different commanders and put them on another commander. So for example, taking a skill from YSG that is giving it to archers and changing it over to infantry in the case of these auxiliary commanders. So it'll be interesting to see how they lay that out in this KVK mode. Siege of Orleans campaign. In this story, if your alliance or coalition is occupying the Orleans Guide Hall, it is not currently open to contention. You can choose to start the Siege of New Orleans campaign. In this campaign, you must defend Orleans by defeating waves of incoming English troops. If all defending troops are defeated or the Orleans Guild Hall is captured, the campaign will be failed. This somewhat sounds like it's going to be a Shadow Legion event, which we actually just had a couple days ago, which is where you have waves of different difficulty coming at you and you try to defend it with your city. So it sounds like it's going to be pretty similar to that. This will also be a brand new map, so it'll be really cool to see what the map looks like. It says you will be a warrior of France from one of 6 different regions, so most likely 6 different kingdoms or 6 different camps, helping Joan of Arc defend Orleans from the English, but also fighting each other for control over the city, so most likely the ziggurat. Next here we have improvement to the Season of Conquest. This is huge. This is something that I am really excited about. Museum improvements is the first thing listed. So I think this is going to be the introduction of KVK 2 commanders into the museums. This is going to be like Genghis Khan, Saladin, Alexander the Great, etc. So this is going to be a huge update for the museum system. It might actually make certain commanders usable again. For example, like Alexander the Great, he's like on the verge of being usable and being kind of shifted out of the meta. And so he hasn't really been the meta for a long time, but a good museum relic could make him usable again in Season of Conquest and actually be desired, similar to Mehmed when he got his museum buff. It says museum exhibits have been expanded. New commander exhibits and relics will be gradually added. So that is going to be Season 2 and Season 3 commanders. Next here we have adjusted the effects of the aggression, spiked armor, safe return, teamwork in the Great Destroyer strategies in the King of the Nile. I haven't played King of the Nile, but I have heard good things about it. Inter-coalition diplomacy / forming unions is now enabled for all Lost Kingdoms in the Season of Conquest. That is pretty cool. I really hope that's going to be where you can create a coalition with different kingdoms from different camps. Because for example, in my KVK, we are allied with Kingdom 1647, but since we're in different camps, we can't form a coalition with them, which makes it a lot harder to do passes and different flags with them because we can't reinforce and we can't rally with them because we're in different camps. I'm hoping this allows you to do that in different Season of Conquest. Next here, we've optimized the rules for Autarch testimonies and Autarch rewards, added new legendary Autarch testimonies. Legendary Autarch testimonies can be awarded from any coalition in any camp, not just your own. The number of legendary Autarch testimonies you can award depends on the story, okay? Reduce the number of Autarch testimonies you can award to your own camp's coalitions from 300 to 240. That is really, really bad. 300 was already really low, and they actually just made that even lower. So this is another good example as to why big kingdoms are going to start falling. Because, I mean, you're going to have 300 really, really good contributors that you're going to have to figure out how you're going to like distribute the amount of rewards. And now you're going to have to reduce that to 240. So that's going to be really hard to disperse that amongst your top fighters. Because in some of these top kingdoms, like, for example, like 1960, 1365, 1093, like that big KVK, they are going to have to choose their top 300 and now 240 players to get the Autarch testimony rewards, which are huge in the Autarch rewards. And so that is going to be really, really big for reducing these big kingdoms, and even mine included. Basically any Imperium kingdom is going to be in a lot of trouble here because 240 rewards is not a whole lot when in the grand scheme of things. And it says you no longer need to control your Crusader fortress for you to get the rewards, which is pretty good because that was something that people did to trade rewards, so you could get a little bit extra rewards with your other campmates that you're allying with. So that's nice that they took that away, so you can still exchange those and get rewards for them. Next here we have armament and state form improvements. So the first thing here, added the transmute feature. You can now use transmutation stones to transmute your armaments, which will randomize their attributes. Transmutation stones can be obtained through the armament shop, Lost Kingdom Crusader achievements, etc. The updated rewards for the Lost Crusader achievements will only take effect in the newly started Lost Kingdom after the version update. So unfortunately, my kingdom will not get this update until our next KVK. So we'll have to wait until the next round of KVKs until we can see this in action. Improve the travel feature. You can now skip certain animations while traveling. If you guys didn't know, I did make a video on a little hack that you can do while traveling, and that's letting the animation go through. It's most likely just a placebo effect, but basically anytime I don't skip and I just do autoplay, I get much better rewards. And when I do skip, if I just tap all the way through it, I get crap. And so I feel like it's most likely a placebo effect at this point, but in my experience and on my farm accounts too, and a lot of other people have told me the same thing, like they let it go and they get much better rewards. So not sure if it's an actual thing or if it's all placebo, but you are now going to be able to skip these animations if you want to just go right through it. Next, we optimize display of armaments in your inventory. You can now sort your armaments by date received. Not really sure why we need that. I'd rather be able to, sort them the way I want to sort them, by things I want, things I might not want, and things I definitely don't want. And I definitely need to make a way to recycle them easier too, because it's hard to remember which ones you have, and like comparing them to the ones you already have equipped, it's just really, really difficult to memorize everything and then have to go back and like, oh wait, no, I want to keep that one, and then you risk the chance of actually like dismantling or getting rid of one that you actually want. Next here we have optimized the order in which armament attributes are displayed. Okay, Not really sure what that's going to look like, but this is a really good update for the armaments. I think being able to randomize the attributes is a good thing because it will keep the inscription that you have on the armament. Like for example, if you have one that has good inscriptions or multiple inscriptions, but does not have really good stats, this is something that you can use to mix up these attribute stats and actually get something that you might be able to use. So for this one, for example, I get 1.9% cav health, troop load, and gathering speed, which I don't want 2 of those 3, but I like the inscriptions that I have on these. Troop damage dealt by 1% and counterattack by 2.5. So these are 2 I want to keep, but I'm not able to use it because it's not really good stat. So I'm hoping randomizing the stats could be really useful for situations like this. All right, now we have other improvements. Optimize how your city is teleported after you drop to 0 wall durability. In a standard kingdom, your city will be teleported randomly to one of the other provinces. In the Lost Kingdom, your city will be teleported to your camp or kingdom starting province. That's not really a big deal for most players unless you're a rogue. Then you might get a 0 wall durability, or if you get zeroed multiple times, that might take effect, but for most people, this isn't really that relevant. Optimize the Zenith of Power event, which isn't huge, just optimize the visual effects. So if you immigrate in the middle of a Zenith of Power, your leaderboard data will be cleared. So if you have like 40 million power and you migrate, it'll go down to 0. So definitely do not migrate. Then it says your event quest progress will be kept. So if you got the 1 million points and you want to migrate and try it again, you're not going to get the rewards for that. Optimize the daily special bundle offer. After purchasing a bundle, you can directly open the treasure of the bundle in the purchase interface. Okay, it's not really a huge deal. Typically want to open up as many as you can so you get some better odds. Optimize battle reports. If one of your troops' battle reports is merged with another troop's battle report, the data of those 2 reports will also be merged. So I believe that shows if you're hitting the same enemy with like your 5 marches, all 5 will show in the same report. At least that's what I'm understanding from here. If you guys interpret something differently, let me know down in the comments below. Also says reports of battles between your troops and other governor's troops will also show kill point data. I believe it already does, doesn't it? If it shows how much power you took from them. That's usually the kill points that you get, unless they're just going to change how that looks. Added the ability to replace rally troops. With this feature, you can replace your troop in another governor's rallied army without having to exit the rallied army. I'm not sure if this means you can have more than 1 troop in a rally, or if you try to reinforce with a second one, it automatically leaves with your original march. I feel like that's a little more likely than being able to reinforce more than once. I know there is a KVK mode right now where you can do that. You can have 2 in each rally, but I think this is just going to say so that you don't have to physically go leave the rally and then go reinforce. So that way it's a little bit faster. That'd be my guess for this, because I think they'd be a little more explicit if they were saying you can put 2 in 1 rally. Optimize troop dispatch. When dispatching troops, you can now get unit recommendations based on your primary commander's talents. Okay, I feel like it already does that for the most part. Optimize the Ark of Osiris event. This is huge. Previously, if you had severely wounded units in your hospitals, you would not be able to enter the Ark of Osiris battlefield, which was a huge pain, especially if you were in KVK. Now you'll be able to enter, but you will not be able to dispatch or start healing severely wounded units while you're in the Ark of Osiris battlefield, which is not really a big deal because you're already playing in the Ark of Osiris. So this is really, really big because you no longer have to clear a hospital before every single Ark of Osiris match, which, like, for me in KVK, I have like 600,000 T5 units in my hospital. If I had an Ark of Osiris match today, I'd have to use like 12 days of speed ups just to be able to play Ark of Osiris, even if I didn't have a fight coming up for another week, and I'd be wasting those speed ups. So I'm really glad they're changing this. I feel like this is long overdue, but really good change here for Ark of Osiris. Scouts on the map will no longer block you in selecting a location for alliance buildings or teleporting your city. Thank you for this. This was really stupid because people were abusing the scouts, and it was actually making it so that scouts were like really, really good because you could just scout something over and over and over, like have hundreds of people scout it, and like your enemy would not be able to teleport there or build anything there. And so it was like super overpowered. I don't know if people even knew you could do that, but now no longer scouts will be interfering with that and making it a little harder to build alliance buildings or teleport your city. So this is a really good update as well. Add new troop markers to help you mark specific troops. Not sure what that's going to look like. I feel like that's going to be like if you make a marker, something like this. Like if you just hold down and make a marker like that. Like they might add another one here for another interface. Instead of enemy, friend, or special, they might make another one of those. Not really sure what else that would be. Optimize highlight selected target. In settings, if this feature is enabled, when an enemy troop is selected during marching, its avatar will be highlighted. So that's something that I personally like, so I can see what I'm hitting. but I know a lot of people really don't like it, so I'm glad that they're making it so you can enable it or disable it. So this is a good thing as well, making it a little more customizable for each player. And then finally, added legendary engineering and gathering equipment. So this is really cool. We do not have any legendary gathering equipment, which now we most likely will, which can be found at the blacksmith once the game is updated. New blueprints are also coming soon. Please stay tuned for further game content updates. So this is really cool too, because I know a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, but I know some people who, like as a meme, they went and they took their bone and they turned it into legendary, and they've never been able to use it. And so if you have legendary bone, like right now, there's nothing you can do besides dismantle it, and it costs like 2 million gold to do. And so they just have useless legendary bone that they've never been able to use, and now they might actually have a use for it. However, if it's going to cost the same amount of gold as forging anything else, it might not be worth it unless it's like really good gold gathering speed. But other than that, I don't think it's really going to be worth it for main accounts, maybe for farm accounts, for like your pit march. But for the most part, I don't think it's going to be worth it. We'll have to see. Obviously, they're going to put some more legendary engineering equipment in there too, because we don't have any legendaries yet. We just have the new equipment that they just put out in the game here. I don't have anything crafted because I don't want to use all my materials for this stuff that I'm never going to use, or at least not planning on using. But they will be putting legendaries in here as well. So if you are looking at ranged combat, if you did invest into Margaret and Bybar, those are two different commanders that you can use for ranged combat. And then obviously we do have that other season that is going to give us different commanders, the auxiliary commanders for ranged combat. So that might be something you might want to look into if you are looking at being a ranged combat player. Obviously, that's kind of the way that Lilith is wanting the game to go. So it might be something that everyone's going to have to invest in eventually. Right now, I am still rocking the 0 ranged points, which I'm pretty happy about. We'll see how long that lasts. If ranged combat becomes meta, I will start using it. I will start investing into Margaret or Baber. But as of right now, I'm not planning on it. But overall, this was a really cool update. I think the biggest things are going to be the new museum commanders coming soon. I'm really hoping Alex and Saladin make it in there, because I know a lot of people are waiting for that. And then obviously one of the biggest things that we saw was reducing the Autarch rewards from 300 to 400 amount of players that can get it. Making it a little bit easier to get those rewards though. You don't have to keep your Crusader Fortress anymore. And then the armaments are really good for optimizations there too, making it so that you can mix up the attributes so that you can kind of make stuff that's actually usable again. But other than that, this was a really good update. I think overall, really solid update. Nothing really here that I'm against. I think everything here is positive for the game. If there's anything that I missed here or anything you guys want to point out, let me know in the comments below. But let me know what you guys think about this update and what you guys want to see in the future with Rise of Kingdoms content. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. Have a great rest of your day.